Now, what are quasi contracts? Quasi contracts are no contracts basically. In this contract, there is no as such offer, no acceptance, and these contracts are basically prepared by court. Actually, the legal effect is given by the court telling that you have to at least fulfill what is basic required. Now, what does that mean? I'll give you an example. See, for example, if you have found a lost purse in the market, so it is a moral duty of yours to submit it to the nearest police station or contact the person if details are available in the. Now, going to the book words, it is written like sometimes the law implies a promise imposing obligations on one party and confirming the right in favor of other even when there is no offer, no acceptance, no consensus item like no consent, and in fact there is neither agreement nor promise. Such cases are not contracts, but the court recognizes them as relations resembling those of contracts and enforces them as they were contracts. Now, such contract is called a quasi contract. Here, what happens basically, first of all, there is no offer, no acceptance, no consent, but the court recognizes them as a contract to give legal effect so that not at the rest of one party, another party gets a fiduciary advantage. See, now there are 5 sections basically. Section number 68, section 69, 70, 71 and 72 of the Companies Act 2013 which deals with this type of contract. I'll read it out for you. First is section 68. Section 68 tells claim for necessary supply to person incapable of contracting. Now what does here it means? Say for example there's a minor, okay, or there's a lunatic who is not of a unsound mind and who is not of a sound mind. Now if there is a person or if there is a guardian who is taking care of the person, that guardian is liable to get whatever he has spent on that person. Now here the person who was lunatic or who is a minor did not give the offer confronting, right? Like I have the requirement for necessity, provide me food, provide me with water and all the stuffs, but the court still considers this as contract just because the minor or the lunatic should not get undue advantage of the person who has helped. So what happens basically, people in future would not come voluntarily to help someone, right? So in this case, so that not a one party gets aggrieved or gets offended, the court creates this type of contract, and hence the person who has enjoyed the rights is liable to pay whatever the guardian or whatever the other person has spent. Second thing we will see is reimbursement of persons paying money due by another in payment of which he is interested. Now say for example in a school there is a line and a child started crying कि teacher please ऐसा मत करो, don't do this, let me sit in the exam, I promise to pay this fee, I promise to pay the outstanding school fees as soon as I go home. So one of parent came forward and like, teacher please let the child sit, I will pay the fees. And I agree, not everybody does this, but in case if someone does, so that person can take the minor to the court to get back the amount which he has spent as a necessity. Now, education is one of the secondary rights, it is not the basic human necessity, but still I am just giving an example to make you understand that the person can get those fees from the parent. I'll give you one more example. See, there was a person who met with a bike or car accident, and another person like a person who is voluntarily willing to help, he came forward and took the person to the hospital. Now since no one is there, the person filled the form, he paid the initial bill whatever is there, and then the family came. Now this person who has helped is telling the family that I have paid 15,000 the initial fees, please repay me this. Now when the family is opposing and not ready to pay, quasi contract is created here. The person who has helped can take the other person to the court telling I paid when he was in time of need. Maybe I paid out of very few which I had, right? So this is to encourage people to help. Now if in this case the person does not get the amount back, say for example if I am there, I would not be encouraged next time to help somebody, right? So to maintain the basic human tendency of helping, these type of contracts are created. Now next point here is section 70 says obligation of person enjoying benefit of a non-gratuitous act. Now what does this means? This section provides that where a person lawfully does anything for another person or delivers anything to him, not intending to do it gratuitously, and such other person enjoys the benefit, the latter is bound to make compensation to the former. Now here example is given: a tradesman leaves goods at B's house by mistake. B treats the good as his own, so he is bound to pay. Now what here is means is A did not voluntarily kept those things to enjoy the benefit to another person, right? He by mistake forgot it. Now say for example Arzu, a trader, forgot 100 ice creams at a place in the bus stop. Okay, I'll clear the example, at someone's house, and the person started eating it. So those ice creams were not meant for you to enjoy, right? Now if you have already done that, I cannot recover those ice creams or those goods back. So in that case, you are liable to give me that amount, and if you don't, I can take you to the court of law claiming it under quasi contracts. Next is responsibility of finder of goods, as I earlier told you. Say for example a person has lost his gold chain. Okay, B finds it, he sells it in the market, and later on gets caught in the CCTV camera and telling it was not my responsibility. The court says no. If you are finder of goods, according to section 70 of the Contract Act 1872, you are liable to give it back to the person. You are liable to inform the authorities that I found the good and please give it to the respective person to whom it belongs. If you have not done this, the court of law creates quasi contract, and here you should repay the amount if not the goods. Next and the last section here is liability of person to whom money is paid or thing delivered by mistake or under coercion. See, many a times happens, we have seen in the news also, that by mistake 1 lakh rupee or recently a huge amount was deposited into amount of some poor farmer or some poor person. Now what he does is, arey wah, lottery lag gayi. So he'll withdraw the amount and spend it. Here the court of law says no, that has been by mistake and you are liable to return it. So this is basically a gist of quasi contracts. If you are interested in any videos like this further, do contact me.